Good morning. This is the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Weather Briefing for Friday, April 4th. Looking at our current map, we do have a little bit of everything. We do have in these purple circles project areas for burns, larger burn areas in the open circles. We do have new and recent large fires. Well, I shouldn't call them large fires, just wildfires, most of them on the smaller side, but a couple dozen acres out here across parts of eastern Utah and into even western Nevada. So we're in that transition season and still in dormant season in a lot of areas where things can burn before green up fully gets underway in the middle to higher elevations. It's already well underway in the lower elevations. And over the past 7 days, we have precipitation amounts here, quite a bit here in the mountains, a ½ inch to an inch of precipitation from the light to dark green areas, heavier amounts across the Sierra. Only areas continuing to escape precipitation are far southern areas. You can see the percent of normal for the week, dark reds down in parts of central southern Nevada, the Arizona Strip, and southwest Utah, as well as parts of Idaho. So looking at some of our fuel conditions, 100-hour fuels, driest in the mid to upper single digits in the south, but again, moistening up quite a bit to 20% or higher, where you see the dark green across much of the higher terrain of northern Nevada and parts of Idaho and Wyoming. The flash drought index, this is over a 1 month period, continues to show a deficit of moisture across southern areas of Utah, as well as Nevada and the Strip. But again, a very quick transition to more moist than normal conditions as you go further to the north. Our snowpack kind of mimics and shows that even higher than normal snowfall by about 35% across much of the higher terrain around Ely and Elko and into parts of Idaho. Near normal, we see the green and a sharp transition to much below normal as you head into far southern Utah and some of the higher terrain in northern Arizona. Satellite imagery, and we can see here as we put the maps into motion, clear skies across most of the Great Basin, but big storm systems right now up in the Pacific, but really not making any headway. We have a big high pressure ridge that's going to be blocking that approach for the next couple of days. So what we have today is still the lingering low pressure that has brought storminess to much of the area the past few days, still centered over the Four Corners. Most of the moisture down to the south and over Colorado, but still in that cooler than normal temperature regime as we're under the influence of the low, especially the eastern portion of the Great Basin as you go further to the west. Northerly flow, but somewhat warmer, but still, I would say, a little bit below normal. Big storm system well out into the Pacific. Because we're under the influence of the low, very good air quality, ventilation or dispersion index in the white shows excellent overall dispersion. Even the yellow is not too bad. And then we look at surface winds, mostly out of the north, gustiest where you see the dark greens and orange, where they could be anywhere from 15 to 25 miles an hour. And you can see the humidity driest in the south near 10%, and then mostly in the mid-20s to mid-30s across most areas. So a pretty good burn day with the humidity ranges. But we do have transport wind and ridge wind issues. So where you see these oranges and purples, these are ridge winds and gusts that could be somewhere in the 25 to 35 mile an hour range, lesser as you head further to the north. Vertical mixing, excellent as you would expect this time of year. Areas in the red, that smoke's going to get up 5, 6, 7,000 feet before any limitation. Now on Saturday, that low continues to meander down here, and if it continues to do that, and we think it will, and we still have north-northeast upper level flow, we're still looking at somewhat cooler than normal temperatures, but each day gets a little warmer, especially across the western Great Basin as the big ridge of high pressure starts building in. So the warmth is going to be coming into parts of western Nevada and western Idaho. And under that high, that's where the air quality is not going to be as great. You see the areas in red, but areas in white still very good air quality. And dispersion, surface winds very light up in the north and west, but still somewhat breezy, maybe 10 to 20 miles an hour in the southern and eastern areas. The humidity does definitely start to dry out in the south, single digits to low teens, and then upper teens to low 20s to near 30 as you head further north, but still fairly dry. And you can see those transport winds out of the northeast gusting to 30, 35 miles an hour, along with very good mixing heights. Now, on Sunday, the high pressure ridge starts centering itself over the Great Basin. The low pressure area finally starts shifting away. We'll probably see warming temperatures. There is that next storm system we saw spinning in the Pacific, pushing into far northern California and the Pacific Northwest. We'll see how much headway it has pushing into this high. This high is going to be kind of a blocking mechanism, steering stuff to the north and away from us. You see the air quality on dispersion, a little bit more areas in the red and yellow instead of the pure white as the high pressure ridge builds. Winds overall much lighter, humidity a bit drier. You see those single digits and low teens spreading a bit further northwards into central areas, even teens up in towards the Boise area. So we are starting to dry out a little bit. So probably some good times to get burning in if the winds are kind of low, which it looks like they will be in a lot of areas, but they are going to start picking up with that storm system in far northwestern areas of Nevada, along with great mixing heights. So the 3-day precip totals, and this is that next storm system coming in, mostly in the Pacific Northwest and far northern California, maybe a few drops up in the Payette National Forest, and some of this over the Wasatch is just, and the Utah mountains is just residual leftover showers over the next 24 to 36 hours. Now, on Monday, the ridge does shift. A piece of that storm system breaks through, so we could see some spotty showers and cooler temperatures, areas in the green through here, and that'll improve the air quality a little bit as the high shifts further out. But it's going to be temporary. Again, most of the storm moisture shifts up into Idaho, so they could have cooler temperatures and spotty showers. You see the overall dispersion is looking pretty good. But then the high pressure rebuilds back from south to north as we go into next Wednesday and Thursday, and we start seeing a bit of a decrease in air quality across southern areas, but still overall not too bad. So probably get some good burning in here. The next storm system, the moisture is kind of strung out and limited, so not expecting much in the way of any significant precipitation. This is the precip days 4 and 5. This is Tuesday through Thursday, mostly up in the north and mostly light to locally moderate amounts in the mountains, and then not much days 6 and 7 as the moisture gets shredded and pushed further to the north. These are the overall 7-day totals. And look at some forecasts. This is for the Salt Lake area, so for the eastern Great Basin, highs in the low 50s today, but we start warming up into 60 to then 72 degrees as we go Sunday into Monday, along with more sunshine. Looking to the western Great Basin, Reno, being a 54-degree high today, but warming up to 63 Saturday, 69 Sunday, and then 62 Monday and 68 degrees on Tuesday with a fair amount of sun. How about Boise? 57 degrees for a high today, but getting up into 63 Saturday, 71 Sunday. And then that moisture does affect them a little bit with some clouds and showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. Temperatures dropping off just a little bit. And finally, down to the southern portion of the Great Basin. St. George starts at 64 degrees for a high today, but warming up to 71, then 76 degrees for the weekend. And then low to mid 80s Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday high 85 degrees. That high builds in and maybe even warmer as you go into Wednesday and Thursday next week. So that's what it's looking like in the 8 to 14 day outlook, taking us from April 11th to the 17th, much above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation across most of the region. We'll keep monitoring that as we start approaching a late shoulder burn season and maybe the earlier than normal start to fire season as we get into late May and June across southern portions of the Great Basin. Concludes our briefing. Have a great day.